Hello, my name is Durante from the blog Placeres Culinarios. Today I have the great honor and pleasure to interview Mr. Desmond Payne, Master Distiller of Beefeater Gin. Hello, Desmond.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks for having us, and let me tell you, it's truly an honor to have you here in Peru.
It's great to be here. First time.
First time in Peru. So, have you been having a good time here?
I haven't stopped.
Yeah, it's a busy day.
I got here on Friday night
Okay.
with no luggage, then arrived yesterday, so it's okay.
Well, sometimes it's a long travel,
I know.
so the luggage sometimes can be a little deceiving. Well, Desmond, tell us, what brings you to Peru?
Two things, really. First of all, Peru this year, for the first year, have entered the Mixed London competition.
Okay.
This is a competition for bartenders. There are 33 countries this year around the world, and it's a cocktail competition, of course, but we always have a theme to it. And the theme this year is that the inspiration for the cocktail should come from the bartender's native city.
Okay.
So as well as a good cocktail, we'd like to hear a story of how that association works.
And what do you think about the spirits competition here in Peru? Did it meet your expectations?
Yes, it was slightly different because we had a huge competition on Saturday night. Not only the Beefeater Mixed London competition, but the finals of the Absolute and Havana Club and Chivas. So there was a big event and about 1,200 people there. It was a great party. And we found a winner, we haven't announced yet, from Peru. And he will come to London in February to compete in the international finals.
The cold months.
Yeah. Well, yes, I'm sorry.
What do you think about the integration of Peruvian ingredients to gin-based cocktails?
I think it's great. I mean, it's part of the theme that we've developed for this year. First of all, you know, gin as a spirit is very versatile. It works in many different directions. And bartenders then put their own influence on the gin to create their cocktail. So it's great to see local ingredients in cocktails.
The palates vary a lot depending on the country.
Of course, yeah, but that's the excitement. This is why I love to travel. But the other reason I'm here in Peru is that really, fairly recently, gin has become a really significant spirit. All over the world, actually.
A new boost.
Yeah, which is great. And we want to see what's happening and to maybe just help a little in steering in the right direction. But it's a very exciting time for gin.
Yeah. Actually, I read an interview, maybe 2014, when you said that gin was in a low year rate. And nowadays, 2017, it's up again.
Yes, it started about, actually over the last 10 years, it's beginning to come up. But South America is fairly recent. I'm going in a couple of weeks' time to Brazil and Argentina for the same thing, for the cocktail competition.
Okay. And how do you like to take your gin? Is there any cocktail in particular? Maybe you have your own recipe?
Of course, I have my favorites. Again, it's two things. I love some of the, I've been in gin for a long time, and I love some of the classic cocktails. My great favorite at the moment, I think, is the Gibson,
Okay.
which is basically a martini with a little onion in it. It's a good drink.
So,
Too early. And Negroni, you know, so the classic
The
drinks
classics.
I love. But traveling around the markets to see what the bartenders are doing.
yeah.
I think this generation of bartenders are really
Everybody has his
top
own
of their
twist.
game. Yeah, and it's a very exciting time. And for them, I think gin is a spirit that works in so many directions.
So, if you had to accompany a dish with gin, or I don't know, what would be the perfect pairing for you?
Pairing with spirits is a very interesting concept. Again, gin probably works better than others. It's quite difficult.
Our food is quite difficult.
Your food is wonderful. That's the third reason I'm here. But the trouble with spirit pairing dinners is actually sometimes you just get too much alcohol.
Yeah.
Because you get full-size cocktails, you know, and long drinks, and there's a lot of alcohol. For me, I think the way that it works best is to actually match the food to the drink rather than try and match drink and food.
Yeah.
So bartenders working with chefs is an interesting concept. Sometimes it's not an easy fit, but it's very exciting. Keep them small, keep them relative. It's what cocktails do. They bring out one of the flavors in the gin and enhance it.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing with food pairing.
Okay. So, what is the definition of a good gin for Desmond Payne?
A good gin has, first of all, a balance of flavors.
Okay.
I'm very much aware that as a gin distiller, that what I make is not the way that anybody drinks it. Something always happens to it. It's a gin and tonic or a more complex cocktail. Balance of flavors and the ability to work in many different directions.
It's got to be versatile.
Yeah, it should work on its own, first of all. Not many people drink gin on its own, but any spirit that's good should work on its own first. But then it has to work in other directions. When I created Beefeater 24, nearly 10 years ago, one of our brand ambassadors said something to me which was very true. He said, Desmond, if you make a gin that doesn't work as a gin and tonic, or doesn't work in a dry martini, you've missed an opportunity, which is absolutely true.
Okay. So, what do you think of the new types of gins that are being distilled nowadays? Gins that are being rested in wood, for example, like oak or Bordeaux.
Yeah. Well, I rest the gin in wood.
Yeah.
We have a gin called Burroughs Reserve, and it's exactly Beefeater recipe, but it's made in a small still, so it's different. And then we rest it in casks from Lillet, which again contain orange and Kia cream.
The aroma is quite enhanced.
Yes, yeah. So that's an interesting thing. It's very small barrel rested gins, but the way that gin is going now, and it's interesting because the gin actually named after this. There's a bit of a revolution about gin.
Yeah.
In that kind of anything happens right now, and people are challenging the traditional ways of making gin, challenging traditional flavors, which is great. It creates a lot of excitement. Not all the gins are great, I have to say, but many of them are very good quality. I think what will happen in a few years' time is that when the revolution stops, new categories of gin will appear, and some of the traditional brands, I hope Beefeater will remain as classic, and some of the new gins will be modern classics. So it's, let's say, an exciting time.
This year you're celebrating a truly astonishing task. 50 years in the industry.
Yes.
Right?
No, 5. No, 50.
Not 5.
50.
50 years in the industry. And if that wasn't enough, you're the garden of James Bour's original recipe. Okay? So what significant changes have you seen in this industry in your life?
For the first 40 years of that almost, gin, before the revival of gin, brands were doing well, but it wasn't regarded as such an interesting spirit. A lot of the interest was about vodka and other spirits, especially in the 60s and 70s. So it's really, I'd say, in the last 10 years, the excitement of gin. I was in a bar in Valencia in Spain about a year ago now, and they had 625 brands of gin at the bar.
Brands?
Yeah, brands, different gins. Now there's probably over 1,000, the bars with 1,000 gins. So it's quite challenging for the drinker. I try and keep up, but I know when I want to drink. But when you see so many brands of gin, you say, oh, which one should I...
That means you're doing a good job.
Which one should I drink, And that's when packaging becomes very important. The label should be exciting and stand out. And we've done quite a lot of Beefeater to change that. Beefeater 24, which is the gin I made 10 years ago, we've now put it into a red bottle.
Yeah.
So it has very good
It's a gorgeous bottle.
Shelf. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Actually, the next question was, what can you tell us about Beefeater 24?
Okay. So they wanted me to make a new gin, a new style of Beefeater, particularly for established markets, where Beefeater had been around for a long time, Spain, USA, for example, the big markets. And they gave me free hand. Desmond, make us a gin. Yes. At last, my turn, Desmond's gin. You know, in my office at the distillery, opposite my desk is the portrait of James Burrow, the founder.
Yeah.
And he's watching me to make sure that
Everything
I don't
keeps
change
up.
his recipe.
Yeah.
So I turn him around, and then I say, right, what am I going to do? And really, it comes down to two things. All the gins out there, they're different for two reasons. First is, what is the recipe of botanicals? Juniper plus what? That's where the flavor comes from. And that list is endless. And the second thing is how you make the gin. And the rest is marketing.
Okay.
It's important, but it's not
The essential.
about the actual product. So one of the things we do for Beefeater is when we put all our botanicals into the still with the pure alcohol, instead of distilling straight away, we leave it there for 24 hours to really develop the flavors before we distill. And that makes such a difference to the way the gin works.
You have to take your time.
So I
sometimes.
didn't want to change that. Yeah, it takes longer, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
So the 24, hence the name, 24. I like to try and tell people I'm 24 years old, but it doesn't work. Nor is it 24 botanicals. So I didn't want to change that. So my option was to change the recipe. So I used all the recipes in James Burrow's gin in Beefeater, and then I added tea. There's a Japanese tea, sencha tea. There's a green tea from China. And as well as the orange and lemon that's in Beefeater, I added grapefruit.
Okay.
So it just changes the balance of flavors, it works in a different way.
Well, gin and tea, it couldn't get Britisher.
Gin tea.
Yeah. So, what do you think of the new generation of distillers? Is there someone to follow your footsteps when you leave Beefeater?
I'm sure, yes. It's all very much taken care of. I mean, to be honest, the day-to-day distillation, I'm not quite so involved in now. A colleague of mine does that. I'm involved very much in producing new gins, like 24 and some others I've done. And very importantly, in buying the botanicals, the juniper berries and everything else. When I get back, I'm away next week, but when I get back to the UK, it's time to look at this year's crop of juniper. And we will have about 200 samples of juniper berries, and we have to decide which we're going to buy to make sure that Beefeater
It's
will
all
stay
about
the
the
same.
ingredients.
The man in the picture will be happy.
Okay. So finally, what would be your recommendation for someone who wants the ultimate gin experience?
Come to the distillery, do a tour, and drink some Beefeater.
I know you have a great tour in the distillery. You have 5 stars on TripAdvisor, so I hope to visit someday.
Please do.
Thank you, Desmond, for having us. Hope you have a great time here in Peru, and
I will.
we'll hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.